Given Eskom's financial state, it's not surprising that their profits have taken such a hit. What does Eskom say are some of the main reasons and the factors that led to this profit slump?
Well, Elvis, good morning to you. And yes, it's absolutely not surprising that revenue has taken a plunge the way it has. Eskom says that it has not been able to collect revenue, particularly from municipalities. They've also been borrowing a lot, maybe way too high and at a very high cost. Remember that they've been downgraded twice already, which means that when they go to the market to borrow, they will get their money at a far higher cost, meaning that the interest rates will be much, much higher. They've also lost a number of industrial customers. These are energy intensive users who have been at the top of their customer list previously, and because of all these problems, I suspect that a lot of intensive users have had to make a plan in trying to find alternative ways of energy, maybe using solar or means like that. There's also been delays in commissioning the 3 power stations, Medupi, Kusile and Ingula. That has also perhaps put a lot of more pressure on their revenue. And also, of course, last week we learned from the Minister of Public Enterprise, Ms. Lynn Brown, that load shedding is going to happen for the next 2 years. All of this, Elvis, gives you a picture of just the kind of pressure that Eskom is under.
Now, 7.1 billion to 3.6 billion, that's almost 50% take down. How will they make up or cover that shortfall?
Well, the General or the Group Executive of Distribution and Customer Service, Ms. Ayanda Noah, spoke to the media and said that one of their key plans is to make sure that households particularly go prepaid. You remember that earlier this year we had issues with the Soweto residents who were protesting against Eskom, and we also know that Soweto on its own owes about 4.1 billion rands to Eskom. And she says that the only way to sort of recover this is try to convert for people to prepaid meters in order for them to retrieve their money. That way, users will be able to use what they've paid for. So if you have bought 50 rands worth of electricity, that's what you will be paying. It obviously looks like it's going to be very difficult for them to recover the funds from everyone that is owed to them. So they have to come up with an alternative plan, which a prepaid plan is one of the most, rather, ones that makes better sense to me.
So if prepaid is the way to go, how are they going to solve the issues of putting those prepaid meters in when people are protesting? Have they come up with a plan?
Well, absolutely. We have not rather heard what the plan is, but as I say that, they say one of the best things is to make sure that they convert households and they make sure that people don't go on strikes and they understand what they're getting. So maybe not too much into detail in how they'll stop people from protesting, but maybe an alternative is indeed a prepaid.
Now, I believe the issue regarding Glencore coal was touched on. What did Brian Molefe say about that?
Well, this has been another issue that has been hogging the headlines for a while. Remember that Glencore has been under pressure and has been at the threat of shutting its stores, and also has been at the threat of laying off a couple of workers. Mainly it says that it's been paying too much to Eskom for the coal that they sell to them. Well, Eskom has responded to that. The Chief Executive, Mr. Molefe, says that they will be seeking a 2 billion rand penalty from Glencore. His most prominent reason, Elvis, is that they have not been getting the best quality of coal. And I quote, he says, "We will be seeking a penalty to them for their shoddy performance." He says that the quality has absolutely not been good, and they are not in the business of rescuing mines, but of making sure that there's electricity. So he feels that Glencore is rather making excuses and blaming Eskom for its problems that it's having at the mines. So we will be expecting a court moving to the courts and a penalty being imposed on Glencore, and it will be interesting to see what kind of turn this case will take.
Now, the minister mentioned that we will probably have another 3 years to look out for load shedding. Was there any update from Eskom on the load shedding schedules?
Well, it looks like we'll still have load shedding, like the minister said, for the next 2 years or 18 months, mainly because, of course, we know that their power stations are still very much under pressure. They still need to be maintained. So for the next 2 years, as they maintain the power stations and the grid, we should expect that there will be frequent or consistent power load shedding, as we've come to see it in the past couple of months. So if you're expecting that maybe after today there won't be any load shedding, you're in for a disappointment, because we will have it for the next 2 years.
Disappointed, Diabo. Anything else that came out of that briefing that was of significance?
Well, apart from the three main things that I've spoken to you about, of course, these I can confidently say that these were the most important ones, but they are trying to stabilize Eskom and to make sure that it gets back to profitability and to make sure that it does what it's supposed to be doing, which is powering up South Africa. We know the kind of challenges that they've had, but certainly it looks like they are on the right track. And of course, you remember that Mr. Molefe is on a 3-month contract, or he's acting at the moment. This means that he actually has confirmed that he is still acting, and he has not heard anything from the minister about his position, which means that Eskom remains in his hands for the next couple of months until next month.
So more bad news for the consumer out of this briefing, because it seems like there's going to be massive tariff hikes.
Oh, well, yes. The issue of the tariff hikes, remember, last month or 2 months, they went back to NERSA to ask for a tariff application, which was not granted. So Mr. Molefe has mentioned that they will be going back to make sure that they get their claw back. And in fact, NERSA still owes them. So the issue of tariff hikes and customers paying more has not gone to bed. They will still be seeking another tariff application to make up for the shortfall of this 3.6 billion from 7.1, which means that they are highly strung. They do need money. You remember that last month or a couple of weeks ago, they also got money from government bailout. We are expecting that at least things like those will be able to prop up Eskom's finances.
Diabo, thank you so much for that feedback. That was our reporter Diabo Seto, live from Sunnyside in Gauteng, giving us the latest from that media briefing by Eskom. The bad news for you, the consumer, is it's not going to be good. You might have that increase in 2016, tariff hikes coming your way, load shedding perhaps continuing.